Most companies and celebrities don't actually engage on their own social media accounts. As much as I would love to believe that the Chris Hemsworth himself tweeted to me, the person doing so probably looked more like this. I don't know that for sure. Chris seems really cool, but it's such common practice that it's probably more likely that a marketing team is engaging on this social media account. And I know this because I own a marketing company. And I remember a few years ago when people started asking us for engagement services. Basically, they wanted to hire us to go into their social media accounts, like posts, comment where appropriate, follow accounts in their niche, things like that to build up engagement organically, especially on platforms like Instagram. So when I first found out about this, I wasn't so sure. But in the marketing industry, you really need to stay up to date on trends. You need to know what's going on and what people are doing and expecting. And so I said, okay, let's try it. Let's do a little trial and see how it goes. And now there are two things that you need to know for the rest of this story to make sense. The first is that my company is called Dr. Rissi's Writing and Marketing. My name is Morissa, but I am commonly called Dr. Rissi. It's a branding thing, it's my company's name. And my social media accounts, especially years ago, were a strong mix of professional content, celebrating clients, and also some personal stuff. The other thing that you must know is that in the same way that Dwight Schrute has a dog-like obedience to authority, I have a dog-like loyalty to people of my past. My head marketer is a guy I was friends with in elementary school. I'm a part of the same opera group that I've been in since middle school. And so the team member that I assigned to engage on this account was somebody who I met in my first job, who was the team member who's been with my company the longest, who knows me and the company better than anyone else. So I thought that she was perfect to engage on behalf of our account. And she was. She focused on local businesses, followed a bunch of them, and liked a whole bunch of their posts. The account soon grew hundreds of new followers. Our engagement went up. It was awesome. So I said, yes, we're going to offer engagement services to our clients. The trial was a success. All right, we have a new service to offer to clients. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. Fast forward a few months. I go on a date with a nice local fella. He's a local business owner. And we're sitting and having dinner. And in the middle of having dinner, a DJ shows up and sets up his equipment right behind us. It was DJ night at the restaurant. We did not know that. So our quiet dinner turned into a little bit of a louder one, but it was fine. It was a first date. We figured it would be a cute story. We just shouted a little bit louder, said what a few more times. Then he makes a comment about how I made the first move. And I'm thinking maybe I didn't hear him right because he asked me out. I didn't know this man before last week. And I'm like, huh? What? And he's like, yeah, when you were liking all my posts on Instagram, that's when I knew you liked me. And I'm like, huh? And then the light bulb went off. And I realized what happened. And I go, oh! I'm yelling over the music. You know my company? My company did that. That's one of our services. And I'm thinking he's gonna think that's cool. Because we were talking all about our businesses right before that. And he's like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, somebody on my team did engagement services and went through and liked a whole bunch of posts on my company's behalf. And he's like, wait, so you didn't like my posts? And I go, well, if I would have seen them, I'm sure I would have, but I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. And he's like, so you didn't like me? And I go, sure, I like you. We're out right now. And he's like, but months ago, you didn't like my post? You didn't like me? And I was like, I didn't know you existed until last week. And this guy was so offended. And I was like clueless. Because in my head, I'm like showing him our services and not thinking from his perspective how kind of heartbroken he is. And now I get it. But at the time, I wasn't thinking from the perspective of like his ego and his feelings. I like to think that I'm just as honest as I am loyal. So I'm just being honest with the guy. And I'm like, yeah, sure, it's just our service. His whole demeanor changed for the rest of the evening. He kept giving me pop shots then because I had accidentally crushed his ego. Sometimes maybe honesty isn't the best policy. And loyalty is good until the person who's loyal to you maybe knows you a little too well. And do your own engagement on social media. That was the biggest lesson I learned. Ever since then, I do all my own social. I actually created completely separate accounts for my businesses. So now I have completely personal accounts, completely professional accounts, and never the two shall meet. And never shall somebody who is not me go into the personal accounts to do something public facing. I've learned my lessons.